Welcome to Offsite Dirt, the podcast committed to news and insight in the offsite construction industry. Join our team of experts covering modern methods of construction, high-performance build, lean manufacturing, prefab, and beyond. Here's the dirt on Offsite Dirt. We would like to thank our partner, Wesco, for being our official Offsite Dirt sponsor.
We provide innovative supply chain solutions every hour, every day, all around the globe. Our people roll up their sleeves and help create a world you can depend on. Focusing on the details, the challenges, and the unexpected, so that you can live life uninterrupted. Wesco. Ingenuity delivered.
Hello and welcome to Offsite Dirt. We are talking with the Unico system, and the Unico system is a HVAC system, and it is a small ductwork high velocity system. The unique thing about it is not only does it work for traditional construction, but it is making a segue into the marketplace of modular construction, utilizing modular factories, panelized companies, and others. So they continue to explore and expand. And today we're joined by 3 of the 5 brothers that have put their heart and soul in this company. And it's really just amazing what they do, how they're doing it. And we get to talk about it on Offsite Dirt. So today we are with Shannon, Scott, and Shawn. I'm going to have each one of you guys just briefly introduce your position and what you're doing with the company. And then, of course, if you have any insight or maybe a little bit more about the other brother, we'd love to listen to that too.
How much time do we have?
We'll burn this interview.
So Shannon, tell us a little bit about your position, then we'll go to Scott, and then we'll go to Shawn.
Sure. I'm Shannon Intagliata. I'm the National Sales Manager for Unico Incorporated. My function is to call on, build relationships, and take care of all of our distributors. We have 18 rep firms around North America, about 100 guys out in the field selling our product. I'm responsible for them as well. Also our HVAC contractors, which are part of our UPC program, Unico Preferred Contractor Program. So take a lot of phone calls, take a lot of texts, take care of a lot of hurt feelings sometimes, take care of a lot of joy. So it's just a fun job and work with some great people.
That's amazing. And Scott, give us a little bit of your background and role at the company.
Yeah, so Shannon and I work very closely together. I oversee all of our marketing activity, and over the years have taken on responsibility for overseeing our international sales as well as now our e-commerce sales, which has been a platform. And Shan soothes a lot of hurt feelings. I think I cause a lot of hurt feelings. So
I didn't want to say that.
And many of you that have been at our industry events, maybe it's Advancing Prefab, maybe it's the World of Modular, we always seem to see Shawn out there talking about the modular game. So Shawn, give us a little bit of your background and how you really kind of integrated, because you were really the forefront on this extraordinary idea about unifying Unico system into the modular industry.
Well, that's very kind of you to say. Shawn Intagliata. I run a little subset operation called Cobalt Creed. And our focus for the 7.5 years we've been doing this is to take the Unico technology direct to builders. And we, in fact, found a really nice marriage between Unico in a factory setting and a modular application, and the results and the ability to limit extra labor on site and to do, we've done some where we're doing 95% of the system in the factory, which is a real benefit when you get on site. We've learned all about set growths. We've learned about rigging. We've learned about how factories work. And to date, we've been blessed to be in 9 different factories with our stuff and our technology. And I have a very dear colleague who is the tool end of our business, so that his name is Mickey Levinsky. He's very technical. He's very good at installing Unico, period. And he has great relationships when he goes into factories. So that's
Thank
what
you.
I do.
I love that. You've pretty much segue into how this is making a difference in modular factories and allowing people to know that. I think the one thing I really love, and you guys actually had an Instagram post just recently, and you were showing different rooms of where your system hides. That's what I kind of feel like. It's these very small, you have round, and then you have little small square ductwork. And it's not only just the ductwork that's so amazing about the product, but Shawn, why don't you tell us what makes the product so unique?
Well, in the Unico has less air. We're delivering about half the volume of air at twice the speed. But it's a mixing effect, and it's a very quiet system. That duct that Scott was holding up, as an example, that's our small delivery. So you mentioned the rectangular plenum. That is every main plenum is insulated, because we're running such great dehumidification. We need to insulate it, make sure we don't have a dew point issue. There's Scott again, very nicely done. And in a factory, typically, if we're working with the design and the engineer team, there's an interstitial that's usually at least 4 inches, sometimes 5, where we can use a rectangular duct that is 4 inches tall by 14, 4.5 by 15 when insulated. And what happens is, off of that flat duct in the interstitial between the floors, our small ducts run out. And so if it's a second floor coming onto the first floor module, all of the plenum, and typically the air handler is in the first floor. And then the second floor, all of the small duct that Scott held up is ran to the point where on the second floor module, once it comes on top, so when we're on site, we're verifying all of that ductwork is still good. It hasn't been crushed. Nobody stepped on it. It's been shipped right. Typically, we will show them how to ship it. But then on site, to connect the second floor, Audrey, it's about 30 minutes. You look in the nice little hole, cut the ship strap, bring the duct up, connect the male, female on the faceplate, secure it to the floor. Very nice, very done. And so typically it's an interstitial. Typically we're using a flat duct. And because we use half the volume of air, that flat duct will deliver up to 3.5 tons of capacity.
So it fits into a tighter space. It's 3.5 inches outer diameter. It's flexible. It's highly insulated. You'll have less than 1% thermal loss with our ducting. Conventional ducts are going to lose 20 or 30% of their thermal loss. With Unico, you don't have that. And because you can get everywhere, you can take the outlets to the corners of the room. So nobody will ever have a draft because of the aspiration technique Shawn spoke about, where the air comes into the room at a higher velocity. It begins to immediately mix with the air in the room. So in a standard 12 by 14 room, you'll have 1 degree temperature variance, window to wall and floor to ceiling. So lots and lots of benefits. And then that end user is going to have greater moisture removal. So in cooling mode in the summertime, when it's very, very hot and sticky out, you can have your Unico system on even at a higher temperature, and we're removing 30% more moisture than conventional systems. And it's also, if installed correctly at a factory, and it will be once we train them, it'll be the quietest air movement product on the market today.
Wonderful. Shannon, can you tell us a little bit about your facility, where you guys are located? And then also, you guys have a training facility, correct?
We do. We're located in the Garden Spot, Missouri, called Arnold, Missouri, right outside of St. Louis. We have a factory there. I believe it's 104,000 square feet. We have we make pretty much everything for our system, except for the motors and the coils. All of the sheet metal we manufacture ourselves. We manufacture the ductwork that Scott just showed ourselves. We have a little bit more than 100 employees. They are out there every day, 6 days a week, making the products for lucky end users to get.
Absolutely. And so, Shawn, when you talk with a factory and they're interested in your product, you guys keep mentioning, and I think this is an amazing part about your company is, one, you have a university online for training, and then two, you guys have training inside, right? And then you can also train outside. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, yes, so when you're doing your first system with any factory, as an example, a couple summers ago, we put in 9 systems into 9 3-story townhomes. We sent 16 skids of equipment. Well, had we not been there, they would still be looking at the equipment, wondering what to open first, right? So we worked with them for about 3 weeks, making sure everybody was up to speed and making sure that the sequence of installation was proper. And that's how we do it in a factory. We want to show them literally screw, tape, how to do transitions, make sure that the small duct is secured properly, because we don't want any air leakage in our system. Lower volume of air means we want every CFM of air to be delivered into the build space. Very important. And I wanted to mention, we have our own product class in federal law called small duct high velocity. Literally, we passed a law in Congress in 2012. President Obama signed it, and it was unopposed. There was 2 House members who voted against it. Okay, they vote no on everything at the time, but that led to a study with Florida Solar Energy Center down in Cape Canaveral. We did a year-long study, Audrey, comparing Unico to a ducted offshore unit. The offshore unit theoretically had an efficiency that was 50% higher. And over the course of the year, our system, 1.5 degrees of temperature stratification on average across the entire space. The offshore was 3 to 7. We never needed supplemental dehumidification in Cape Canaveral, Florida. We averaged 47% relative humidity. And guess what? A unit that was theoretically 50% less efficient. The energy dollars, forget efficiency, the energy dollars for Unico versus the offshore was 22% less to be more comfortable, have proper relative humidity, have great health benefits, and it was just a grand slam. So this SCER and all that good stuff that we're regulated by, the reason we have our own product class is because of the differences we provide.
I think that you're bringing up so many points. With everybody being sick a couple of years ago, air quality, savings, energy savings, being able to put in a product, not to mention it's so quiet, you can hardly hear it. And in my house, which is super old, I cannot not hear my air conditioning going all the time. So I think that is certainly something that is super valuable. And to know that you guys went the extra distance to be able to provide the solution and being tested and going through that really speaks volumes for the company.
Thank you.
Thank you. Audrey, if I could backtrack for just a second,
I would love it.
I don't think we answered your question concerning training.
Yeah.
So we offer training in all different forms, okay? So we have what's called Unico University. You can find it at unicosystem.com, where you can sign up for any of our 42 modules that's on there. Very good, very easy to navigate, get on, take it. We do give tests at the end. We also offer field training, not just us, our reps, our distributors are out there training all over the time, new contractors, old contractors, on anything new that we have. But we also have a state-of-the-art training facility in Arnold, Missouri. run by a gentleman by the name of Matt Gordon, who does a fantastic job as our national trainer. I know we have a group of guys in from Chicago this week getting trained. It's a mix of classroom training and then hands-on. So we bring systems in, they work on systems, they put a system together. They really get a feel for how this is, how it works and how to properly install the system. Properly installed, it's a fantastic system. It truly is.
Thank you for bringing that up. And I wanted to see if maybe, Scott, you want to tackle this one. One of the most wonderful things that I saw that I think is super helpful for the modular industry and modular community is that sometimes they have a base home, like a home model that is a typical size or a typical model system that they have at their facility or even at one of their retail locations. The unique thing that you offer is a free design service. Would you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. Audrey, and I think what's important to recognize there as well is that the design service is just part of what we call the modular home process. So we said we're going to dedicate ourselves to the modular home field, and there is a dedicated process from initial contact to completion that we follow, that we've talked about. A big piece of that is the design service. So if a factory or builder sends us a set of plans, we have a questionnaire that we can do interactively with them, make sure that we have a grasp of the construction values, setting, that sort of thing. And then we'll go ahead and do what's called a manual J, which is a scientific heating and cooling calculation, which will give by room the amount of heating and cooling BTUs required for ultimate comfort there. We will then incorporate that into a material list and a drawing, and the drawing can be used when Shawn or his team or somebody, one of our reps, goes to a factory. They can use the drawing to train the team in the factory. Here's where it goes. The main trunk sits here, that sort of thing. And it's a great service. This year. We'll do somewhere around 800 individual house plans. And we look forward, generally, we turn them around within a week. And it's very much an interactive process. We just don't take it in. We want to know that what we're doing is appropriate for the project.
Hitting on all keys points of a successful business, and really I think the end user and the support and resources that you guys provide for the modular manufacturing and the industry in itself makes you very unique. Shawn, how has your experience been in walking into this? 8 years ago or 7 years ago, there's a lot that has changed. And I know that you guys are usually typically in the custom home arena. And then you mentioned that you are doing, maybe a little bit of multifamily and maybe duplexes and stuff. Where do you see this going, and how is the Unico system going to provide more help for these installers and these manufacturers?
Well, to answer that last part of your question, young lady, to dovetail on what Scott said, we also, because we owned a mechanical firm for 27 years that our father started in 73. We have knowledge of all the other pieces that make up a Unico. So when we're doing a material list, and what we quite often do, with almost exclusively what we do for a modular factory, we're going to supply everything. Their purchasing folks don't have time to hunt the two-stage heat cool thermostat and the rectangular. They don't have time. So we'd rather provide that as a resource, or they can just buy Unico. But I just wanted to say that because what Scott said is so important about the design. And when we create partnerships, which Scott and Shannon have done unbelievably with other OEMs, original equipment manufacturers of heat pumps, chillers, etc., lots of products, we tend to match those so that that customer is getting a known quantity. They are getting a known process and we know what that unit will deliver, period. We're BTU agnostic, but we want to make sure we get the right BTUs and let Unico distribute the air brilliantly, quietly, efficiently, lower dehumidification. In South Carolina, we just had a developer turn it on yesterday. He goes, I'm in love with this. I said, good, we are too. But he said, man, the humidity levels were coming down within 10 minutes. So long story. That's my answer, but I wanted to say that about what Scott had said, because that's very important. People are chasing little parts and pieces, and we can give them the whole package. So.
And super important, right? With supply and demand and making sure that you're assisting them to know exactly, and it doesn't mean that they have to purchase the product, all those pieces and parts, but it certainly is nice to know that you're offering it so that they have a greater insight of how to install correctly.
And Audrey, you would know better than us. My guess is, based on the limited experience, I would guess north of 85% of the factories in this country don't provide HVAC. I could be wrong.
You
But-
know you're right.
Okay.
But you're right. I mean, that's just the thing. And so now we're opening these discussions, and you're providing support and resources, which is key for the success. In closing, I'd just love you guys to be able to just tell us maybe one quick tip or one thing that really makes the system superior, and you know, if there's anything else that you'd like to add. Scott, go ahead.
Well, there's a multitude of benefits which we can talk about all day. There's benefits to the factory. There's benefits to the commissioning crew who does the house set and finishes the home because it's quick. There's lots of benefits to the builder and developer profit-wise. Very importantly, the end user who lives in that facility, whether it's an apartment, a condo, a single-family home, is going to have years of the very best comfort available. And Audrey, one of the things that we're quite gratified by, because we always, we love to talk about our product, but we really love to sell our product. And Wesco, which is a supplier and vendor to most of the modular factories in North America, has just recently, Shannon and I have worked out a wonderful agreement where they're going to offer our product to their factories across the United States. So we wanted to give them a shout out.
Yep.
I love it. Shannon, anything else in closing?
Audrey, I got to be honest with you. We like to think that we're very, very smart people, but and sometimes we are, but we are very successful because of our partners. You are one of them. Wesco's another one. We have other partners, Darren's Aruba. We have our reps out in the field, our customers. Because of them, we're successful, and we thank you.
Oh, that's wonderful. And Shawn, we're going to get the last word in. Out of all the brothers, you're getting the last word. Does that ever happen?
I think Shannon would agree that when Scott froze, that might have been some of his best work. But
Unbelievable. I was transported. I was really
incredible. And seriously, to dovetail on both of them, being a company that is customer focused, we give excellent customer service. I cannot tell you all the times in our lives where we've had some challenge with a product or a unit or whatever. We always step into the breach and take responsibility. So we have a better product, we have better service. We walk in a land of multinational giants, Audrey, and it will take a literal act of Congress to ever alter our position in the industry. And you know how that chance of that happening are that much. So we're very blessed, and we really appreciate what you're doing and our partnership with you as well.
Likewise, it's always easy for me when I can find people with integrity, quality product, service, providing a real solution in the industry that really needs it, and that's what the Unico system does. So thank you, Shannon, Scott, and Shawn. I'm super happy that we had this conversation. Just for our audience, Stuart is another one of the co-owners, and we have a design video that we've put together for people to actually listen to how he looks at design and answering questions and solutions for this system, not only in the modular industry, but also the traditional industry. So super excited about all the things that are happening in our industry, and knowing that there is a key company out there looking to solve problems and to actually have better air quality and a system that really can truly change diminish, the humidity in the home, the air quality, the way that the airflow is going in the home, and that's really what the system does. So thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Audrey. Appreciate it.
Audrey.
Thank you, Audrey.
And that's the dirt on Offsite Dirt. We look forward to seeing you again. Make sure you check out the Unico system, and make sure that you check out what we've got coming up in the next couple of months. Like us, share us, and follow us. Have a great day.